Alright, so people say that nobody out there predicted the internet. It was so easy to predict, but yet no one saw it. And then there's videos of that one singularity guy who said some things that sounded kind of like the internet, and it was way from the past. I should investigate 80s, 70s or something. But back then, they didn't really record, not everybody with a jackass recorded every thought that they had. I guarantee that someone did predict the internet from the 70s. They saw the way that it was going. They probably predicted that computers, or maybe they would have called it TVs or something, but it would have linked up and it would have had the ability so every jackass could upload stuff to YouTube. They probably could have predicted a lot of this stuff, and I bet somebody did. It's just because not every jackass like me had a camera. So I'm going to try my hand at predicting what's going to come in our future. Yeah. Okay. So, I'm going to start this off by saying, back when I was a little kid, right, I used to think I would be the best at torturing people, right? Everybody got it wrong, because people say, like, they'll do, like, interesting ideas. They want to have interesting ideas more than what is actually the most torturous, so they'll say things like, well, I'll open up the pee hole, and then I'll stick fire ants in there, and I'll go into your intestine, because your intestine is linked to your pee hole or something. No, you just have fire ants eat you out from the inside, right? And I always thought, that's stupid. Okay, the best way to torture somebody, and I thought, like, I had a real hard-on for torture when I was a little kid. I was a fucked up little barbarian, right, who loved revenge, and I still do. So, I thought, well, okay, you give someone a feeding tube so they can't die. You paralyze them or you tie them up like the Metallica 1 thing, right? You take away as many senses as you can, right? And the only senses you leave, you torture. I mean, if you leave the eyeballs, if you leave a sense, you only have it to be tortured, right? Smell, find the worst thing to smell. The eyes, you shine bright lights into the eyes, and you slowly cut at the eyes. And you just basically keep them alive as long as you can with a feeding tube in your basement while giving them the maximum pain you can give them without killing them. So basically, all that I thought was like taking a hammer to the testicles, basic stuff. But the major thing was keeping them alive. That is the worst torture, right? Okay, so let's, on sort of a sidetrack issue, I don't believe in torture, the torture sentence anymore, but I was arguing about the death penalty with somebody on an Amazing Athie video, and they said, dude, just try some acid or something and you'll lighten yourself. Okay, back when I was 13 to 15 when I did the most acid, I did believe in the torture sentence, because I'm a little barbarian, fucking hateful fuck. I don't believe in that anymore, but acid doesn't do the same thing to everybody. To a brain like mine, it only fucking reinforces all that shit. You think I'm gonna critically examine myself? I'm way too fucking arrogant for that. Back to the future. Okay. So, in a way, I'm kind of gonna use a cop-out for the worst torture by just saying science will make the worst torture. But it's true. Okay, so take the year 2500, right? Or whenever year you imagine like Star Trek era things are going to be happening. When they know pretty much everything about the brain, they will also know what is the maximum amount of pain you can give to somebody. Just like, you know how to put the brain in a state so that it'll feel the maximum amount of pain and despair, right? You will know, okay, this is a healthy brain that is happy, and it will probably be more complicated than just the 5 happiness chemicals. We'll just deprive them of dopamine, serotonin, fucking GABA, all the rest, fucking norepinephrine, yeah, the other ones. But it'll be more complicated than that. It'll be like, you will be able to hook a machine up to somebody, and you'll think no one will ever think of this, but I'll get to that in a second. Hook a machine up to someone's brain, right? Say it's year 2500, we'll defeat death, so you could keep someone perpetually alive for either ever or 500 years, or a long as fucking time, and you will keep them alive with machines, paralyzed like Metallica 1, but even worse than that, you'll have a machine scientifically designed to put your brain in the maximum amount of despair possible, right? And, you know, maybe America won't do this, or maybe we'll do it to, who even knows what the politics will be in the year 2500? But I'll tell you this, you think nobody will do that, like, okay, I want to get to a eugenics thing, okay. If you say that, like, we have the ability to weed out the gene that causes sadism and the worst forms of sadism, like serial killer, we can weed that out. But people will protest, for probably good reason. God damn it, went dark. Fucking gay assholes. Gays are responsible. Okay. So there'll be people who say, and probably rightfully so, well, we don't know yet if we eugenicize, if we breed out serial killers and the extreme sadists, maybe they'll all take out another good quality for humanity, right? Gotta get my thing there, yeah, to advertise. Okay. Maybe like some adventurous goes with that, or maybe ballsy, or maybe the ability to calculate the 100th place of pi, because that's important. Who knows what goes along with the serial killer gene? You got me? So we'll decide not to weed it out. So in the era, and probably even like countries, you know, we already have countries that have nuclear bombs that believe in fucking weird people in the sky. In fact, I think all the fucking countries are like that. So we will continue to progress and people will stay the same because we're not going to genetically weed out that shit. So what is the serial killer, the Jeffrey Dahmer, going to do in the future? Well, they might have access to a machine that will put people in the maximum amount of torture possible, right? And say like some serial killers is, I just want to kill the most. Like there's that one guy, Ted Bundy. When he escaped, he just went on a killing spree. They want to rack up numbers. Most serial killers, I think, are in the game of causing the most amount of pain. That's what gets them off, right? So why would a serial killer deny the opportunity? Say they're a rich person. Say they have a basement someone will never check. Serial killer from the year 2500. They'll strap this machine to someone and death will be defeated, and these people will be in perpetual torture for like 500 years. I have to address something right now though. I had this idea a long time ago, not as something that I wanted to do, but something that is theoretically possible. It's an idea that came from me when I was kind of a little kid, right? And then I saw an episode of this show called The Dark Side. It's cheesy, it's like The Twilight Zone, but it's cheesier, and they have some good ideas. And this episode is fucking awesome because they had the same idea. There was this gangster, right? And I didn't get it from this. I saw this after I already had the idea, but there's this gangster who did like horrible shit to people. And he had some disease where he's dying, and he got in contact with some mysterious man who said, I can hook you up to a machine that will keep you perpetually alive and basically in heaven, you know, just feeling good. And of course it turns out to be a hell machine. It hooks up to his head, keeps him alive perpetually in hell, being tortured by like the people he killed because he's a terrible gangster. So this same idea has been had, and it will probably come to exist. So now let's get back to the serial killer. If they're just trying to rack up as much evil as they possibly can, right? Aren't they going to maybe say, as people get, like, think of a Star Trek era, someone has like a cargo ship, maybe a Han Solo like type or whatever, and he knows of a planet that's kind of habitable. Maybe it's not habitable for some reason, but technology, he can make it, you know, some existence there, right? So he starts filling the planet with all sorts of people that he captures, and he puts them in these hell machines. And since there's so many planets out there, maybe this planet hasn't even been mapped yet, you know? This guy's just a fucking explorer with a little warp machine, and he's found a planet that nobody knows about, right? And maybe he decides to maybe breed these people. Maybe he'll clone them. I got these ideas kind of clustered. I also thought of a hell idea. A future idea is when if you hate someone, you'll just take their blood, you'll clone them in your basement, and then you'll torture an exact copy of them, right? And that'll make you feel good. It's like Ted from work. Fuck you, Ted from work. I'm gonna go home and punch a baby version of you. Because only stupid people think clones come out fully formed immediately. So you're gonna have to be torturing the baby for a while. But eventually you'll have a fully grown coworker in your basement that's the exact copy, and you just get to torture him all the time, and it'll make you feel good because you are a fucking asshole. No, alright, now back to this planet. Say he max amount of pain, you're just trying to go for being the worst person possible. Let's say you fully populate this planet with 7 billion people all strapped into a hell machine, right? So something always freaked me out, this never set well with me when I tried to have empathy in life, that you talk about other countries and it's like the women are forced to fucking wear veils and have horrible lives and they can't drive and they'll beat up for singing and whatever, and the life for men is like, it sucks too, not as bad, but fuck. And it's just fucking torturous over there, and it's like 100% of the people are Muslims, and that's not gonna be fucking true. So atheist people like me are gonna be like, yeah, I'm a fucking Muslim, I pray to Muhammad all the time, right? Torturous over there. I always hate to think that most of the world is in despair. I don't know if that's true. People in these hellish kind of places might find a way to set out a good life for themselves, you know, the best they can do. So maybe it's not true, but I hate it when it gets dark. When it gets dark. Guess X. Alright. So imagine an entire, like, why wouldn't this happen? If we don't breed out sadism, there's going to be someone who wants to do this. In fact, there's going to be, probably everybody who's a serial killer now will want to do this. They're all trying to be as evil as possible, right? That's the kooky thing about these serial killers. It's like, what the fuck are they doing? They're just being evil for the sake of being evil. Well, that's kind of their gig, man. And eventually, one of them is going to have the power. One of them is going to be given, we think about like idiots having like nuclear bombs and shit, and idiots in the future having amazing technology. What about torturous hell machines? Now, I'm going to expand upon this one bit further to make the hell machine a little bit worse. Okay, take yourself on Ambien or yourself really drunk, even blacked out, you still have feelings, but you have less of them. You're sensing less, right? Now, if you take an animal, the PETA people will be like, they have just as many feelings as us. So let's just go to a single-celled bacteria. It has less sensory organs than we do, right? It's possible to have more sensory organs and less sensory organs, right? So if you're just doing it barbaric, like those barbarians, right, laying someone out on a table, pouring boiling water on them, ants in the urethra, slowly slicing them. You're trying to torture every different sensory organ, right? Well, it seems that humans have more sensory organs than single-cell bacteria, and sorry to say it, PETA, we have more sensory organs than mice do, than many animals do, maybe not elephants, I don't know. So maybe you could build on so that people have more sensory organs, meaning this machine can cause more pain to you than is even possible for any human to feel, because it actually builds on sensory organs, or the illusion of sensory organs, because it's a machine. You don't actually have to build on extra flesh, but this machine, and again I'm saying the max amount of torture was science, but it does seem like it's possible to have more sensory organs, doesn't it? We have more sensory organs than a single-celled bacteria. I also thought of this with aliens. If we feel this much, and I feel less on Ambien, and rats feel less because of rats, then probably aliens might have a higher ability. Say aliens that like fold space and are way smarter than us, right? They fold space to get here, they go faster than light, and they have big penises, and everything is better about them, right? Well, maybe they have a higher ability to feel pain and despair. Because, I mean, think of yourself on Ambien, right? You don't have as much of an ability to feel either pain or despair. And, you know, yeah, so where am I going? Eugenics, gay sex, torture. So this is the future that I'm presenting to you. There's going to be machines. There's going to be an entire planet filled with 7 billion people, maybe multiple times over, maybe infinite times over, all of them with machines that both keep them alive and keep them in perpetual hell. But it's not the hell that you even know, it's hell that has extra sensory organs built into it, so it's more pain than a human could ever feel. And there's the amount of people tortured on these planets that regular people can't find, because there's so many fucking planets. This will just be Gacy's crawl space has now turned into a planet, and it's even fucking worse. There will be more life forms in this universe in perpetual hell than there will be anybody who enjoys their life. And that is going to be our future. I guarantee it. Look forward to it. Be thankful that you're going to die before that happens. Except, I'm sorry, they're gonna clone you. You right there. There's a risk that they're going to clone you, bring you back to life, and torture your duplicate. But you'll be way gone. You'll be in heaven. You'll be somewhere. You'll be nowhere. I don't know. They'll bring you back to life. Walt Disney froze himself. He's definitely going to be put in a perpetual torture machine. Yeah. Yeah. We live in a time right now that has got... It's not quite Orwell. We have the advantage of using all these machines. And I've said a whole lot of fucked up shit on the internet that it seems like I could have got reported for, and I didn't. So, yeah, we might live in the perfect time. Like, the future is going to be torture machines and Orwellian shit. Now, people think it's getting there, but it's not there yet. And if you flash back to the 80s, no one wants to go without the internet and the technology from the 80s. I mean, it's a fucking rockin' time, but we can't deal without that shit. Our time is undoubtedly better than the 80s. We have access to everything from the 80s. We can do styles from the 80s, although I don't think I fucking quite do it right. We have access to everything good from the 80s, so Whatever. Gay sex.